think so.
Yeah, I think so. Over that side would be great. Thanks. Yeah. Right near the podium.
Yeah, it's definitely signed.
Yeah.
All right, good evening, everybody. Tonight is Tuesday, July 8th. It's the monthly meeting of the planning board. If everybody could please stand and say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What?
All right, the first item on the agenda. Oh, except Jim, actually, sorry, we're gonna let,
So while he's getting set up,
Yeah.
so, Mr. Chair, if I could just give an update on the water issues throughout the town this past week. Over every 2 years, we empty both tanks, and both of them are inspected. It's a maintenance issue that we do, and we also have to report to the DEP that the tanks are emptied, cleaned, and any repairs need to be made, are made on them. That's why both of them are both approaching 100 years old, and hopefully they'll be, around for another 100 years because of the good maintenance over the years that's been done on them. But what happened this year, so we emptied the Walnut Street tank for its inspection, and that was back in late May, early June. And that inspection went well. They came in, they power washed the inside, they disinfected it, they cleaned out whatever, soot was on the bottom of it. And we put it back online and everything went fine. About a week and a half ago, we started emptying the Farm Street tank, which Farm Street is the larger of the two tanks. And that's when the issues started to pop up. And over this past weekend, when we totally took the Farm Street tank offline, the demand with the heat and everything else, everybody's irrigation systems, everything kept on popping up, and the demand was prevalent that most of the water was coming from wells 1 and 2 and well 4. And we all know that wells 1 and 2 at the transfer station, DPW garage, and well 4 is up at South End Pond. The difference between when we've done this always in the past, we've never had well 3 offline. So well 3 is off of Birch Street, Village Street, and that's offline because of we're building a new PFAS treatment plant there. And this is the first time that that's ever been off. So short story is that we believe that the pressure issue when one tank was off, well 3 acted as the pressure zone for this end of town, everything from Main Street going past. I want to commend the DPW guys, and since last Friday, we've had 7 water main breaks. And they weren't just Band-Aid type water main breaks. They were actually dug down, and chunks of main had to be cut out and put on, put in place. 7 of them. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And as a Millis resident, I want to thank them for, and they were fixed within hours. I mean, they weren't, the longest one that was down was on Pleasant Street, and that was even fixed within 4 hours. So no one was out, we're without total water for less than, that short amount of time. We hope the issue is taken care of. The Farm Street tank was cleaned yesterday, inspected. We started to fill it. It's completely filled today. Now we're just waiting for samples to come back from the laboratory to make sure there's no bacteria in E. coli. So we'll still have issues and experience in low water pressure for the next couple of days, but hopefully by the weekend we should be all set. And again, thank you everybody for being the patience. People have to sign up for the Millis, the thing that comes out of the select board office, the reverse 911 call. If you don't have a phone number there, you're not going to get notified. If you don't sign up for the email blast, you're not going to get notified. And always check the website, because anytime we have a water break, no matter what time it is, something's either posted on the town's Facebook page or on the town website. And all these issues from the beginning to end are always posted on that on the town website. So thanks for letting me
Nope, no, it's thanks, and thank
Yep.
the the DPW guys for getting that taken care of, so.
Yep.
All right, great. So the first item on the agenda would be a special permit with site plan approval, public hearing for 16 Lavender Street. Nicole, if you could read the notice.
Town of Millis Office of the Planning Board Notice of Public Hearing. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 48, Section 11, Mass General Law, the Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, July 8, 2025, at 7:30 p.m. in the Veterans Memorial Building, Room 229, 900 Main Street, Millis, on the application of Santiago Santos Hardwood Floor, 145 Winthrop Parkway, Revere, Mass. 02151, requesting a special permit with site plan approval under Section 12Q, Section 5, Use Regulations, Retail and Service Number 35, and Section 13P, MCEOD Mixed Use Development of the zoning bylaws of the Town of Millis to allow the renovation of the existing building for additional office spaces, parking, etc. at 16 Lavender Street, Millis, Mass. Map 23, Parcel 45. A copy of application and site plan is on file in the office of the town clerk and on the planning board's webpage. Any person interested or wishing to be heard in the application should appear at the time and place designated. Richard Nichols, Chair.
All right, so this is a redevelopment of an existing building, so if the applicant or their spokesperson could stand up, and we may actually ask you also to rotate the board once the camera gets on it to see how it works, but if you wanted to identify yourself, and if you could give the folks at home a walkthrough of what you're going to do.
So for the record, Nick Fasendola.
If we can, yeah,
Or they'd have to come sit up in the front.
yeah. We can give you, give you a set. No, we can give you a set. We're not holding out. All right, go ahead,
No
sorry.
problem. So for the record, Nick Fasendola, Level Design Group. Here with me tonight is the applicant, Ms. Pamela Matthews. And so we'll start with, she'll give you a brief introduction of what she's looking to do with the facility, what the use will be, and then I'll get into the site-specific items and go over the site plan.
Hi, my name is Pamela Matthews. I work as a nurse practitioner. I have been working for years with children. Primarily, I work with families, children in school systems. I help them with medications. I interface with primary care doctors, therapists in the community to kind of make a transition in schools.
Excuse me, can I just have you pull the microphone up to look?
sure.
Because in about 2 minutes, we're going to have one of the guys from cable bringing a sign saying Mike.
Okay, can you
you.
hear me now, everyone? Okay, my name is Pamela Matthews. I work as a psychiatric nurse practitioner. I've been doing that, I've been working for about 20 years, I would say, in psychiatric care with diverse types of populations. I primarily work with children and adolescents currently, and I work with school systems, interfacing with therapists, primary care doctors, to kind of help parents in the community, basically, with their children's in school systems, managing a wide variety of problems. And I work closely with other therapists that's kind of in a similar kind of office in the Bourne area right now, and I wanted to be closer to the area I live in, so that's why I was looking at this area.
All right, great.
Very good. Thank you, Pamela. So I'm sure everybody's familiar with the property located at 16 Lavender Street at the corner of Lavender and Exchange Street. It's a relatively small parcel, approximately 17,000 square feet. Parcel's fully developed, has 2 existing structures. Total square footage of those structures is approximately 2,500 square feet. I'll call it the front structure, that does have a second-story, 1-bedroom apartment that the applicant is going to utilize as part of this mixed use of the facility. As described, we're looking to establish professional offices at this facility. In the redevelopment of the interior of the structures, it was noted that site plan approval would be required. The applicant's looking to make some general improvements to the existing site. We're not looking to get into major construction. There's already existing pavement on the facility. We're not going to be installing or modifying any of the utility connections. We're just looking to add some safety features. So the paved parking area isn't currently striped, so we're proposing to provide striping, delineating zoning compliant parking spaces. A few of the spaces come up to the building face, so we're going to be installing curb stops in those areas. There is a handicap ramp located in that area of the front main building. So we'll be striping a code-compliant accessible parking space with accessible aisle area there. So in general, it's just mostly cleaning up the site, adding some striping, curb stops, delineating where trash and recycling bins are going to be located. Those will be in the back of the facility. In front of the small shed, those will just be standard trash receptacles that would be brought out to the curb. There's no proposed dumpster pad for this facility. There is a small landscaped green area in that area, and the applicant has requested that we try and maintain that space as it's used in her practice with the kids, so it gives them some outdoor space and has a nice hedgerow that really isolates it from the parking area. And there's an existing fence along this property line here, this far property line. So we'd like to keep as much of that as possible. So we're proposing a total of 9 striped parking spaces, one of which is handicap accessible. Zoning parking calculations call for 11 to be required for the proposed use, 1 for the residential unit on the second story of the front building, and 10 based on the square footage of the 2 buildings. We're looking for relief for shared parking with the residential and office use, and along with just the general use of how the facility will be used. The nurses who will be working at the facility, they're essentially going to work in 4-hour shifts, maybe have 1 or 2 patients, and so it's not a typical medical office where you show up at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, you're there for the whole day, and patients come and go. These people will have their own rooms, we'll see a few patients, and then they'll have staggered shifts. Some people will work early, some people will work midday, and some people will work in the later afternoons. So the need for an excessive amount of parking on the site isn't there.
That's also because, you know, most people now work telehealth too, so it's always divided. And usually, if you're seeing children, which is the primary focus, a lot of times it's like a little bit for an hour later in the afternoon, like I would say from 3:30 to 7:30.
So in general, that's the proposed site plan. Now, we'll open up for any questions, but we did receive some comments from Beta. We did submit a response. It was late at the 12th hour, so we understand that you know, if there hasn't been a chance to respond or review those comments, we can go over the comments. I believe there's only about 10 comments within the review, and a lot of those comments were essentially going to be at the discretion of the board, given that we're looking to reuse the existing site and not, you know, disturb a lot of this area and add new pavement and things of that nature.
Does the board have any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
obviously it's a change of use, most of it. with the exception of the existing apartment on the main building. That main building is gonna be utilized the same way it is, or are you gonna change the use for that, making that offices?
The main building?
Yeah, the main one on the left.
Front building.
Yeah, the front building's is going to be offices.
Okay, so you are, okay. The rear building, previous owner had that for staff who was supporting the main building. I think there were 5 residents there prior to the main building. So you're looking at the rear building to be renovated as well, to handle
Yes.
staff?
It would be like 3 offices, basically, in the back.
So the meeting rooms would be in the rear when you meet patients?
Right. Well, actually, the offices are the meeting rooms, because when you're meeting with therapy offices, they're just like private offices.
Yeah, okay.
They, you know,
So you're gonna split it up basically into 3 spaces, the back?
exactly. I mean, it's already kind of naturally divided like that if you've been in that building,
Yeah,
but,
I've been in it several times, yeah.
yeah.
You know, you need zoning relief, right?
We don't believe so, no.
Yeah, you do. It's pre-existing non-conforming for setbacks, and we require a finding that what you're doing to that lot is not gonna be more detrimental to the area, so you will need zoning relief as well.
Okay, we can coordinate with the building
just-
department on that, yeah.
Yeah, just wanna let you know.
There's no changes to the lot, so structures, everything,
Doesn't matter,
yep, well, understood.
yeah, doesn't matter.
So a section 6 finding is what the board,
Yeah,
we'd be looking for?
Yeah, 6B.
Yeah, okay.
Parking spaces, how many on your plan there you show?
9. With
9?
one
How many
handicap.
handicap? One?
One handicap. Fully van accessible,
I was gonna say, is a van accessible? Okay.
which takes up a significant amount of the existing pavement in that area. So we have it right here. Try to, it's nice and level, and then the entry to the ramp is here. I would have liked to have gotten it closer to the ramp, but that's the main drive aisle, so we don't want to have anything right next to the building there.
Yeah, are you planning on having 24-hour or just business hours?
It's just business hours.
And so no, you won't have staff there staying overnight?
No, I would say 7:30, even earlier, they'll be out of the building. There won't be anybody there.
Any plan for additional outside lighting?
I mean, there'll be lighting in the parking lot and the space around there so that you can see,
Is it on the plan?
we can
Anything?
We can add it.
Anything proposed?
add that to the plan.
Yeah, maybe just some overhead lights over the
Right.
doorways. I mean, nothing, no poles or anything of that nature. I mean, if you're looking for a photometric plan for some basic floodlights, I mean, we can
Okay.
add that.
I see Santiago Santos of Santos Hardwood Floors is the owner of the property?
No, I'm the owner of the
Are
property.
the owner of the property? And the applicant is Santiago Santos. Is he here?
He is not here.
What's his relationship at the,
So he's going to just be the person that, I needed a CSL license on there
Oh.
to come in and put up the walls.
so he's gonna
Just-
pull a permit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
So I think the takeaway in that is that we just want to see the lighting for the site added to that, just so we know what's going on in
Yeah.
that.
You want to see locations of fixtures, or you want to see like foot candles?
Yeah, you probably ought to put we make the other groups do it, so we ought to, I know it's another added step, but sorry about it. We make everybody, we try to be consistent,
Okay.
so.
Yep. We can do that.
All right, was there any other questions from the
I just
board?
have a quick, after reviewing the submittal earlier, my only concern is that with the drive up, and I think Beta will address that when they speak, is the cement stops. Is that actually gonna stop a car from, if it could go into the building? And if, on the side aisle, I know that's a fence, there's a stockade fence, a plastic fence. And I would ask that they also add them to that, those 5 spots.
Oh, okay, so just so if a car, so it didn't roll through the
Yeah.
fence.
Uh,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just
Go ahead.
one more question. Is there, you gonna have a sign or any signage there
I was planning on putting some type of signage.
on the building or freestanding?
There's not a lot of space for freestanding. It may have to be on the building. I'm not sure yet.
Isn't there,
Just make sure it's on the plan.
is
if
there
you-
one there on the
Okay.
grass, though? Isn't there one on the?
That's not a sign.
not a
I
sign.
mean,
Okay.
it's like a space where there's books.
Yeah.
I think you could look at that there, but.
Just remember,
Thank you.
All right, no, thank you.
can't be backwards.
Any other comments from the, questions from the,
Mine have to do with parking,
No,
but
I'm
I'm
good.
going to wait on Beta.
Mike, to a what? Sorry.
No, mine had to do with parking as well, so I'm just.
Oh,
gonna
okay,
wait
so
on-
you're all set.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, are there any questions from the audience? So if you could just let the folks know who you are.
Jim Angelo, 34 Lavender Street. If you read the letter, I thought we were getting a flooring company. And like an industrial business, but this seems to be a medical business?
Yeah, it's like a doctor's office.
Okay.
Like-
And I don't know what grounds we have to stop you, but I would like at least hours of operation, whether it's 8 to 5 or, and nothing on Sundays. And, you know, I don't know if you see people on Saturday.
No, if someone, they're not gonna see them on Saturdays. The operation would be like,
But
you'd
I
say,
mean-
I would say 9 to 7.
I mean, I know it's the overlay district, and I know we can all become commercial if we want to be, but it's pretty quiet residential. A lot of the residents are older, and I would like some kind of time limit set up on the hours of operation.
We could put that in the permit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whether it's 8 to 5, I mean, I don't think you should be seeing patients at 8 o'clock at night or 7:30. I mean,
That's why I asked those questions, Jim.
yeah.
Yep, I think, so I think, and if the applicant, you said typically you would do, latest would be 7:30.
So what I meant was that they will be out of the building
They're
by
wrapping up.
7:30.
Yeah.
Well, that's-
Yeah,
that's a-
they'll be.
But that letter's very misleading. I thought we were getting like an industrial business.
No, fair enough. That's why we have the public hearings,
Yeah.
to ask
Yeah,
questions.
right.
Yep,
But, like I said, there should be some time limit set. I mean,
yep.
I'm one of the younger people on the street, and I'm 64.
All right, well, great. Well, thank you for that, appreciate it. Go ahead. If you want to come up, you have to just let the folks know who you are and speak into the mic.
Hey, I'm Tom King, and I'm living at 29 Lavender. My question is, on the lighting, will it be a gross amount of lighting? Will it be overlay, spillage over into the next door neighbor's lot? I mean, how do you control the lighting at night?
They do a.
What time does it go off?
Right, they do a photometric thing where they show where the light ends up, and the other thing is, we could probably, would we set the time? We could set the time, they could put a timer on it, so it could be simple
Well, if
as.
your clients
Yeah,
are leaving by 7, that should,
I mean, as soon as the clients are gone, we can set something up that
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to do anything that's going to take away from the neighborhood the way
Yeah.
that it is, so.
yeah. The question I had was, is it going to have anything to do with Santos Hardwood Flooring Company?
No, that's the name,
that you?
that's just
That's
the
you?
name of his construction, what he did.
Okay, so we're not going to have flooring being
No,
shipped in
no,
and out of here
no,
or something?
No.
And what's going to become of the long building in the rear that's going to be used by you?
So that's like, there are 3 offices in the back. You would consider those like, they're going to be used for like therapy
Okay,
offices.
all right,
Same.
but no industrial storage or anything?
No industrial stuff going on.
Okay, those are my questions.
We
Thank
had
you.
easy questions tonight, it was good.
Easy, huh?
All right, let's see, if there was any, Steve, since we dragged you out here, if you just wanted to run through your comments quick from the letter, just you could give us the executive summary. You have to stand up and let the folks know.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Lee. I I did the peer review for this project. You
Yeah.
can hear me? Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Lee. I did the peer review, excuse me, for this project. A lot of it is architectural in nature, which I was not reviewing that part of it. Mine was more for the site aspect of it. A lot of what my comments had to do with is the fact that they want the existing asphalt in place. They don't want to do a lot of site work. They just want to do interior renovations. So would you like me to go through each of the comments or just give like a kind of general overview?
I think if we just hit a general, if you could hit the highlights, I think there was a couple of,
Yep.
couple of highlights on that. And I think,
Okay, great, I can do that. So, let's see, one of the items, and again, was these parking stalls right here in the front. So those 3 parking stalls, they are existing. We're aware of that in their response. I should say that we provided comments. We did receive a comment back, as stated earlier, and I have had a chance to look it over, but we haven't formulated our responses to those comments. One of the concerns was those 3 parking areas, how the fact that while they are existing, they would require someone who's parked there to back into the road. That was one of the items that was in the zoning bylaws. That same, we had that same kind of concern for the 2 abutting the back portion here. These 2, it's about a 25 to 30 foot reversal. I will say that their response to that was that they said that that would be for employees only. So anyone that comes in wouldn't utilize those spots. That was the response to that. We also had mentioned that the number of stalls was 1 short. They addressed that earlier tonight as far as they were hoping to share stalls, providing only 10 instead of 11. Again, this comes from the idea of they're trying to utilize the same asphalt space as existing. And then, again, this is another one that comes from maintaining the existing pavement. Technically, it could be existing non-conforming, but, you know, a pretty good chunk of the sidewalk and the roof sheet flows into Lavender and ultimately into a catch basin in Exchange Street. You know, that's an MS4, you're an MS4 community, that's something that, that we wanted to bring up. They responded, they had said that they would like that traditional stormwater items like catch basins and trench drains would expand the scope pretty significantly, so they were hoping to utilize quarterly street sweeping of that parking area in order to offset the sheet flow into the right-of-way and ultimately into the MS4 drainage system. Those are the major comments, I believe, unless there's something that I missed.
I think the only question we'd have on that, Steve, is that we were gonna, the couple of extra, concrete berms that they wanted to put in the curbs. I think that.
Yes,
that
yep,
makes-
that was,
That makes sense to do those, and even though it's an added cost, it seems like it's a pretty reasonable request to make. for the-
I agree,
for in
yes.
front of the
They,
fence.
yep, these were the, because they're shown here, they're shown in the 2 there, and the 3 by there. And our concern was that those ones there is a grassed area and there is a plastic fence, but, you know, should accidentally somebody puts it in drive instead of reverse, and now you're hitting the neighbor's fence. So I would agree that that would be our recommendation as well.
Okay.
Somebody had mentioned that.
All right, great. Go ahead, Mike.
I can answer any
Chairman, I
questions.
have a question.
Yep.
Did you evaluate the occupant load for the use versus how many parking spots for the, how many people can occupy it?
I did not. The regulations, I believe in the zoning bylaw, it was a matter of square footage per, let me see if it's in here. I believe it was square footage per space. Off the top of my head, mixed-use development require,
Nick, did
so
you-
a dwelling unit would require the one, and because these are business offices, excuse me, that would be an additional 10. It's one space per 250 square feet. That's how we evaluated it, because that's how the zoning bylaw evaluated it, so we didn't look at it as far as like number of uses, number of occupants.
Thanks. I believe there's a fence that separates the property from the railroad tracks. Is that fence going to be maintained, or?
I was gonna actually fix the fence back there, kind of keep it a little bit, because it does keep like
Buffer.
a buffer, exactly. It needs to be overhauled a little bit.
Yeah.
but-
It's an old fence, yep.
Yeah.
Geez, you like hanging around in the backyard out there, Mike?
Yeah, you
My
can.
wife drives her horse over there. I'll get corrected because I said drive.
All right, so if there's no other questions, I think we're good with you, Steve. Thank you for that. Oh, go ahead. Wait,
Thank you.
Jim Angelo, 34 Lavender Street. I just want to reiterate, this is going to be medical use only, and it's going to be during the week, and nothing on the weekends, other than somebody in the apartment.
Right.
And there's no flooring company. Well, I just want to make
no,
sure.
it's
That's a valid
legitimate,
question.
legitimate question, legitimate question. All right, will that be,
You're gonna set up like 8 to 5, or there's gonna be hours.
we'll talk about that in like 1
Yeah,
second. So,
I mean, you're not gonna be operating at 9 o'clock at night, or, yeah.
No.
Thank you.
nope, all good stuff. All right, and, with that, and I forgot your name, I'm sorry.
Pamela.
Pamela, I was gonna say Pam, I just don't.
It's okay.
So what would your hours be, just so we can?
I mean, roughly, to be
We're gonna
on
write them down.
the safe side, I would say, like 9 AM to 7:30.
How about 8:30?
Yeah.
30 AM to 7:30?
Yep,
And that way it gives you a little buffer, and that's
yeah,
your,
people
Monday
will-
through Friday.
Most people that work I'm the only person that actually works that long. Everybody else has kind of gone home by then anyway, so.
no, that's fine, I mean,
There's
we
maybe
wanna,
one person in the building.
so we have 8:30 to,
Yeah.
8:30 to 7:30, Monday through Friday?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, good. And we can just get you to update we'll have the plans updated. I think we can, this beyond that, did you want to say something else?
No, just wanted to clarify the outstanding items that were discussed this evening. So show proposed lights, they'll likely all be wall-mounted lights, but we'll show the light locations and photometric. Exterior sign, if it's decided that you're going to have one, we'll need to decide by the next meeting and show where that would be, or else you'll be going with a building-mounted sign with regards to, because you need to show it on the site plan, it'd be one of the requirements. Add the additional curb stops. I'll put a note to repair the fence in the rear. And then the only, if I missed anything, just wanted to get clarification from the board with regards to the spaces in the front. Are we okay with that? And also the reduced number of spaces in the shared parking configuration, because those were, and the extended drive, and we would recommend that those 2 spaces near that rear building be designated for employees only, to minimize any potential visitors having to have that extra long movement, reverse movement.
Yeah, so you put that on the plan.
Yeah, we can put that-
Yeah, I would add that to the plan, but I just want to make sure you guys were
No, I
okay
mean,
with,
everything
with those
there
requests,
sounds-
because
that
it was a
sounds
lot.
reasonable.
Yeah.
The only thing else is on the lights,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, I know you probably want to have it if there's someone shoveling out there, so we don't want to, maybe it has with a timer, because like in the wintertime, if you have someone shoveling, you're not going to be shoveling the moment that you open the door, so maybe we could have the lights so they're, they come on a little earlier so you can shovel, and maybe they're a little
On
later
sensors.
than 7:30,
Put them on sensors.
Yeah.
yeah.
They could be on sensors as well,
Right.
if that's preferred.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Can we also include on the plan that the 2 parking spaces in the back that were discussed as being employee only, that be marked, that those will be
Yeah, we'll
for
have some sort of signage.
employee only?
Yep.
To ensure that there's none of the guests are trying to maneuver that.
Where's the resident going? Where's the resident gonna go?
The residents,
Parking?
they'll park in,
Anywhere, okay.
there won't be a designated spot, so that's the whole mixed-use type of
Yep.
thing where they'll, park in, I think they would prefer to park in, I think, one of these spaces as their main entry, I believe is somewhere in that area here.
that's right.
But yeah, if they happen to show up and all the spaces but one are full, that's where they're gonna have to go.
Okey dokey. All right,
We haven't answered the question
Oh.
about backing up.
Becky, it's 25 feet. I mean, that's from here to there.
No, these 3, he just asked for clarification how the board feels about these 3 spots in the front where you're backing into Lavender Street.
I misinterpreted the question, sorry. So, I mean, the 3 spots that back onto, the street isn't
They're
that,
there.
They're existing.
right, and
I
that's-
don't like them, but
that street's not that crazy,
Yep.
so it's not like you're going on 109. So,
Agreed.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't understand the
Big
question.
deal.
I thought you were talking about the one.
In the apartment space, how many people will be there? How many renters will there be? And how many vehicles would they have? And how many guests?
It would
Oh,
just
you-
be it's only a 1
How much?
bedroom, so
but
it'd
you
be
got-
1 parking space.
Well, what if they have friends and neighbors to come to
I
visit
mean, if
them?
they have friends and
They
neighbors.
can't park on the street.
Well, I'm assuming they're probably not gonna have them during the day.
Yeah, if
so
somebody
maybe-
shows up in the
yeah.
evening, the facility's likely closed, or there's maybe one person there, so there should be plenty of
So how
parking.
many renters are there? 2?
one
Is there
apartment.
one apartment with 2
There's
people?
1 bedroom upstairs.
I mean, you can't say 2 people can't be there, but
Yeah,
it's a
well, okay.
one-bedroom
So it's at
apartment.
least one
It's a very
vehicle.
small apartment.
It's very, yeah, it's not
It's
a
like
big
3
space.
rooms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not.
So one vehicle and possibility of perhaps 6 or 8 visitors at times.
It's highly unlikely you put
Highly
more than 3
unlikely.
people in there.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a small. I've been in it
Okay, oh, you have, okay,
several times,
all right,
doing inspections.
okay.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be an overflow of parking then? Okay.
So while he's walking up, did we get the letter from the police, the fire chief and weren't there letters? Okay, so we're waiting on them for the next meeting, okay.
It has been requested.
To do a
Yep,
review of what
yep,
was just submitted tonight.
Yep, yep.
And I'll be following up with those
Okay.
departments.
Jim Angelo, 34 Lavender Street. One more question. Do you run any other facilities like this? Or is this your first one?
So I have an office space. I don't run another facility, but I have been doing this for a long time. And I have already maybe 450 patients or more. So I'm okay with.
I'm just asking. I mean, I just want to know, like, if you have a...
This isn't my first rodeo.
No, I'm
Okay.
asking, like, do you have a record of, like, running a service like this, or...
I used to run things. I've been working for hospitals and in social services for a long time.
Okay, I think we got a list together, and I think what's time for the next meeting? All right, sorry, in August? Okay, August, all right, so I make a motion that we continue this hearing until August 5th at 7:30.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, great, well, we'll see you. Thank you. On the 5th.
Camille, do you want these, or do they want these plans back?
Yep, great, thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Nice to meet you.
Nick, do you want to grab these back just in case you need them again? Sure. Well, we'll just, I memorized them.
Yeah.
Well, just in
We're
case you
waste
end up
of money.
needing them.
Waste of money.
Great, thank you.
Good to see you.
All right,
How you been, all right? Good.
I'm just going to give everyone a minute to clear out, and then the next item on our agenda is a special permit, temporary structures, public hearing for 140 Causeway Street, Suite 15 celebration event tent installation. All right, if you want to read the... Yes, please.
Town of Millis Office of the Planning Board notice of public hearing in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 48, Section 11, Mass General Law. The Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, July 8th, 2025 at 7:40 PM in the Veterans Memorial Building, Room 229, 900 Main Street, Millis, on the application of Eva Tina, 140 Child Street, Hyde Park, Mass., requesting a special permit under Section 13, Special Permit Conditions J, temporary structure of the zoning bylaw of the town of Millis for installation of a 30-foot by 70-foot tent structure for a birthday celebration event at 140 Causeway Street, Millis, Mass., map 13, parcel 8. Property owned by Jen Suritsky, Windy Knob Farm LLC. A copy of the application and site plan is on file in the office of the town clerk and on the planning board's webpage. Any person interested or wishing to be heard in the application should appear at the time and place designated. Richard Nichols, Chair.
All right, and this is, the way that right now the regulations are set up, each time they set a tent up, we have to get a special permit. So if you could run through, I assume this is going to be in the same location they set up the other tents, same parking configuration as the other tents?
Correct.
Okay, and so the only question usually we ask is, have you contacted the fire department for that? Don't we usually ask for, they were sent a copy? Okay, all right, so they've been notified. So it's basically, you're gonna set a tent up, you're gonna have a party, you're gonna take it down.
Correct.
All right? Any questions?
How come I didn't get a party like this when I turned 15?
I didn't either, so.
Apparently not.
Yes. Are you Camille? Yes. Oh, nice to meet you. Oh, you're very helpful. Thank you.
All right, any comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is going to be for one day.
Yes.
Do you have the time that, has the police been notified? Did they send any comments? And how about fire? None? Time of operation, when you're going to start, to when you're done?
So it's gonna start at 4 p.m. and then hopefully it's gonna end by 10 o'clock.
By what?
By 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock? I don't see the list of abutters not checked off.
They were notified.
They were notified?
I had them listed because we had an application, so I had.
Yeah, I just want to make sure the abutters were notified.
Yep, they were notified. The list was just left in my mailbox from the assessor's office directly, so,
Okay.
yep, that's all
So-
set. Everybody's been notified by mail.
Thank you. So 4 to 10 is the hours of operation?
Correct.
Any band music or anything else like that going to be there?
I have some friends who are considered mariachis, so they're family friends, so they're probably, they're gonna go there for like 45 minutes, yes. That's gonna be their gift for my daughter.
Oh, man. 45 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. All right, any other comments from the group? Go ahead. Yep.
I did have an email from the owner, from Jen today, because she wasn't able to make the meeting tonight, but she did say that the field would be mowed just like before at the last events, and she's already talked to Eva, same as last year's events, so.
Thanks, Camille.
Okay. All right, if there are no more comments,
Just one comment, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. Could we limit the time to like 11?
make it
Right.
Well, is there a noise ordinance in the town? Is the,
There
What's
is,
the
but
ordinance is on
you
the
have,
time? There's no
Oh,
time,
okay.
it's simply if it's.
you have more teeth on the
affecting anyone.
planning,
no, okay, that's a good point.
because the neighbors across,
The way,
you can hear all of that stuff.
yeah, 11 sounds reasonable, that's fine. So we'll put a time limit on it to 11 o'clock.
Okay.
That's, at 15, they should be in.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
usually in bed by that, way before
9
that
o'clock.
anyhow, so.
Yes, understand.
Except the Red Sox winning.
All right, if that being said, let's see, I make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I make a motion to approve the special permit for the tent at 140 Causeway Street for the event on whatever day it was.
Second.
With,
Saturday night.
With the restriction of, that the
Time
event must be over by 11 o'clock.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All right, motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Have fun.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right, let's see here, next item is bylaw changes, amendments, recommendations from the review committee.
You're not gonna make me get up there, are you?
No, you can do it from here, you don't have to, you don't have to do it.
Thank you. Okay, the zoning bylaw review committee, half of which is sitting at this table, has been meeting until this month, twice a month, and reviewing the bylaws. This has turned out to be a much more in-depth procedure than I think any of us initially intended. So what you have before you is sections 1 through 4, and it took us about 3 months just to get through the definitions page. As you go through it, sections 1, most of section 2 as well is pretty self-explanatory. Some of it is typographical or word corrections. We have changes in multiple locations where we're updating Board of Selectmen to Select Board, updating, where it just says Board of Appeals, we've corrected it to Zoning Board of Appeals. Under section 2 for the definitions, just to draw your attention to two the definitions in particular on page 4. One is family. We've actually removed the definition of family altogether because this definition was written in the 50s, and really, there's no way to define a family. And so what we have done is, if you go back to page 3, you'll see under dwelling, multifamily dwelling, one family dwelling, two family, instead of having it say occupied by one family, occupied by two family, and then trying to define what that is, which really cannot be enforced, we have stated a one-family dwelling is a building with a one dwelling unit. A two-family is a detached building containing two dwelling units. We did discuss this with town council, and he did feel that removing the term family and using dwelling unit instead of one family, two family, multifamily was more appropriate. The other main change to the definition to point out is on the floor area ratio. There are two examples in our bylaw. Example number 2 in particular is extremely confusing. Nobody on the committee understood it. And as you know, we have 2 attorneys, former building inspector, the head of the DPW, we have 2 builders, we have an engineer. Nobody really knew what these were. We also went through about 20 different towns. Their bylaws for floor area ratio, nobody has any sort of,
And just for the folks at home, so they know what a floor area ratio is, it's basically how much space the building can take up on the lot. So like over in Needham, I think their floor, they can do like 90% of the lot, and the house can be, like, there could be no yard. In some towns, they have it where it's, a percentage. So that's explaining what that is, just so
Okay.
the folks at home know what
Yep.
that is. Because when you hear FAR, it doesn't really mean much. So,
Right.
go ahead, sorry.
Some of them were just trying to clarify, like, for example, with regards to car wash. We have a definition for an auto car wash. We have a definition then for self-serve car wash. So what we've done is really just relabeled them, car wash, automatic car wash, self-service, so that they'll be moved alphabetically so that the two car wash definitions come one after the other. Same with light manufacturing. We've changed that to manufacturing, light, because there are other manufacturing definitions. That way, if you're looking for it, you've got all the manufacturing definitions together. There are a few that, for example, we added the reference to the state statute when the definition actually comes from the state statute, such as childcare facility. We referenced that. The same was true with manufactured homes. That definition comes from the building code, so we referenced the building code. So before I move on to section 3, did anybody have any specific questions on any of the changes we made to the definitions?
Nope, we're good to go.
Okay.
So hope it goes that quick at town meeting.
Okay, moving on to section 3, establishing of zoning district. As we had discussed previously in some of our meetings, the village business zone was approved at town meeting in about 15 years ago. And there were two parts to that at town meeting. One was the establishment of the zone, and 2 was the reallocation of certain property into that zone. Town meeting passed the establishment of the zone, did not pass the redistricting. So this zone exists, it does not have any property. It has not been utilized in the since it came into effect roughly 15 years ago. And it really only applied to 2 pieces of property. So, and that was, a lot of what was in this district was actually, it just came from the MAPC. It was kind of their standard here. This is what we want to see having, similar to the MCEOD, having multiple uses. And because those 2 lots both fall under the MCEOD, or we'd like to extend the MCEOD there, we felt it was more appropriate to do that than to have this separate village business district that only applies to 2 lots. So it is our recommendation that the village business simply be removed. It does not, it's on the map, but as I said, it's on the listing, but there's no property. For 3B, this is just, again, so that when this was first written, the watershed and special flood zones were the only overlay districts that we had. And so that since this is where the listing of our overlay districts, we felt that the three that we have in addition, the MCEOD, the municipal facilities, and the new multifamily overlay district should be listed there as well. They do have, each one of these 3 has their own section within the bylaw, but we felt, again, to make sure everything coincides, that we have all of them listed under that subsection. And then for section 3C, the zoning map, the MCEOD, the parcels that the MCEOD applies to are listed here. With regards to the municipal facilities overlay and the multifamily overlay, those parcels were listed in their specific sections. But again, to make sure that we have cohesiveness, we felt it was appropriate to list the map and parcels here as well. Anybody have any questions on section 3? I know you guys don't, we've already
Yeah.
George, Alan? Any questions? Mr. Chair? And then section 4, the only thing we had was the removal of, the interpretation of the bylaws is to promote health, safety, moral, or the general welfare. We have removed morals. It is not really the zoning bylaws' responsibility to be addressing morals. Again, that's a 75-year-old phrase. And this, the sentence, the section, except for bylaws approved in 76, that doesn't really apply, so we've just crossed all that out. We are halfway through, going through section 5, which is, includes the use table. Hopefully, we are not meeting, the vacation schedule is a little funky for July, so we will be meeting in August. I'm hoping to be able to submit section 5 to the board to review in September. I don't know how it'll work, if that will be enough time to include section 5 with sections 1 through 4 for the upcoming town meeting, but
How soon does it have to be in ahead of the?
Well, from what I understand, town meeting's been scheduled for November
10th.
10th, I believe. So you'd have to make a vote to send it to refer it to the select board so they can refer it back for a public hearing, and you want to have your public hearing in September or October in order to make the town meeting.
So that basically means that you would have to have it done in beginning.
would have it done in
of-
August and submitted,
It's right.
submit to the planning board
Right.
for the September meeting.
Yeah.
And then have it go to select board back for a public hearing in
Yeah.
October. In October. Would it be, but you have to schedule that, so we want to do, I don't know how you want to handle that. I would assume we want to just do one public hearing, because then that reduces the, so do we want to mark this for, assuming a public hearing in October? Or do we want to do this in September and make sure it gets done? And we can always just, and as I said, this is going to be, this whole book will take us at least 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do
So-
it where you get that one checked off the list, and then you get the other one done, and we can add it to it.
Okay.
We could do it that way, right?
No, because doesn't the announcement has to say what sections it is, right?
Yes, it does
Okay.
have to say, like, it will have to say what sections. I mean, the ad could be, entail quite a bit in a paragraph, but you will need for the public hearing, everything to be itemized, what you propose to have amended.
Could we do it could you do one earlier? And I'm just trying to break it up into two, so we could do it when two, we
Two public hearings?
Two public hearings and have each chunk?
Well, you could do sections 1 through 4 in one public hearing, and then section 5 in
If you
another
get it-
public
if you get it
hearing.
done.
If it's done, the only problem is that then
Time-wise, yeah.
we're doubling the cost of advertising.
Okay, all
Just
right.
do
No,
one
I was
before.
just trying to push it. Go ahead.
My recommendation would be to act on what you have so far.
Right.
Because
And
it's a
sections
slow
5, 6,
process.
7,
Right, 'cause
yes.
in August, if you can, we could refer it back in August to the select board so that you could even hold the public hearing in September.
Okay.
And then if anything happens, if we have to do it in October, we still have some time, but waiting until the public hearing for October, I think is cutting it close.
Okay.
So if you
Yeah.
have enough to go forward,
Like I said,
say do that.
whether or not we can get 5 done, and that's assuming that we finish 5. I think we would, but I don't want to, I guess this is going to be multiple town hearings.
So let's just go
Yeah.
unsafe, and we'll just go with the first group that you got set. And then
Yeah, and, because I don't want to be incurring multiple publication
I like to push,
costs.
but not if it's going to cost money. So,
Exactly. Okay.
So, go ahead. Yep.
Just one more thing, because we're still waiting for decisions from the Attorney General on the bylaws that were approved at Maytown meeting. So the zoning bylaw is going to be updated for special flood hazard district and ADUs. So there's going to be those changes, which have already been approved and everything, but the zoning bylaw book itself that you're working from may be a different zoning
Yeah.
bylaw book.
And if the Attorney General's office kicks our ADU back, that may be on the fall town meeting as well. So, okay, we'll just go forward and then for the spring, we'll hopefully have a big, I suspect, because our definitions are so long, there were actually still a couple definitions that we have questions on, but we're waiting until, like with the marijuana definitions, for example, we're waiting till we get to that section. And with the cider and brewery, we're waiting till we get to that section of the special permit section of the bylaw review, instead of trying to jump around. But, yeah, this is gonna be multiple. So if nobody else has.
I just have a quick question. Mr. Chair, I think it's time that we address through the select board the funding to, right now Camille has this on some sort of Word document. And it's, for her to change word for word of what we're changing here, it's just not gonna work.
Yeah, you had brought that up before.
Yeah,
Camille.
and I
That
think
was,
it's time we look at, you know, the IT director has a software company that would legally take our zoning book. They would do it, and they would be held liable if something gets misconstrued or
Yeah, if there's any. if
Any
there's
mistakes?
Any typos, I mean, because some of the changes here are simple, we're changing an or to an of.
Yep,
I mean, some of them might be typos, some of them are because every bylaw that's added is a different volunteer group, so there's different language, but you have, like, within one definition, there's a reference of the state of Massachusetts and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts within the same state. So a lot of what we're doing is just cleaning up, but if we have this company, they're taking responsibility. It's also putting it onto the online. So and that provides the searchability. So you're not just, what our online access right now is just, this is photocopied into a PDF. And every time there are changes, Camille has to recopy this
Great,
and
no, and that's
repost
fine.
it.
So do we know?
so we'll
what
get a
the-
price.
We
should
have,
get that-
I've actually been talking with 2
Jim.
of the 3 select board members and pushing on this, but I think we need to have an official.
No, that's fine. So if we get a number, we should put it forwards and say.
So
that
Camille
we
and I
need to
will
get-
work with Jim Donovan to get the
Yeah.
company's name and have them, maybe they can come in and do, if we want, a presentation
Mm-hmm.
on what it is, what it's gonna entail. Because it can't go on, because,
Yeah.
like she says, you type in "and," it pushes everything
Yeah.
because of the way.
Yeah, so the
it's just-
formatting, and the document is so old that Camille can't change the formatting.
Yeah.
So the formatting is.
Right, no, yeah, I know, Camille and I have gone through that a couple times, so, yeah, so I'm aware of it, but, yeah, you're explaining it for the folks at home. So basically, it's, just to change one word, it takes forever, because they have to respace everything and
Get a price.
reconfigure, because it's been so, reworked so many times, so that makes sense. We should update it, we should find out what it costs, and it's the right thing to do, so we should put that forwards and see what people say.
And then the other thing I would request is that the planning board vote to reappoint the members of the zoning bylaw review committee,
Yep.
as the select board does every July, to reappoint them for a year.
Yep.
If we could do the same, and that's the list of the current members.
Okey dokey. All right, so I make a motion that we reappoint, sorry, I was looking for the word, the members of the zoning review committee, which would be Nicole, Jim McKay, Mike Giampietro, Kaz Pierakowski, Dave Baker, Ellen Rosenfeld, Tom Roach, and Wayne Carlson.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, great, so that's all
I'll
set.
notify everyone to be
Yep.
sworn in again.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No, thank you for going through, which I imagine is a bit of an arduous process to go through the definitions.
It is, I will say, we are fortunate with the expertise from various arms of this process. Everyone on this committee brings a different expertise, so it's been very enlightening conversations, and more than once, we have all scratched our heads and said, why is this here? But hopefully, we've also, Camille has had Jim Donovan set us up, so all of our meetings are being recorded and placed, in the cloud on Zoom, so that 10 years from now, when this is hopefully reviewed again, and they have a question as to, well, why did they do this? They'll be able to go back and see the conversations from the recordings.
Cool. All right, well, good, thanks again for that. So the next item of on the agenda would be approval of minutes from June 10th, 2025. So I make a motion that we approve the minutes as submitted.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Scheduled meetings, we're good, do you want to set one for September, Camille?
Up to you if you want to.
Everyone want to take a peek at September? And let's see here, if I can find my calendar. I'm in January, that's not good.
So we have the 9th, the 16th, and the 23rd. I will not be here the 16th. That's my anniversary.
All right.
And as much as I love you guys, I am not spending my 25th anniversary with you.
How about the 9th? The 9th work for everybody?
Yep.
Is he taking you someplace good? Are you taking you someplace good?
Probably not, because unfortunately, the weekend leading up to that, we have to go to a family member's wedding that is going to cost us about $5,000. So our trip for our anniversary is now being tied up with the cost of this wedding.
All right, with that, unless anyone has anything else, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, good night, everybody, thank you.
And it's not even like a nice